Good evening, Facebook Live. I'm Apostle Terrence Lyons of Ecclesia Ministries here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Coming to you on tonight, bringing you tonight's Bible study. Pray that everyone is doing well. Pray that everything's getting stirred up for you and getting ready for Pentecost time. So we definitely up for you and getting ready for Pentecost to welcome you to tonight's Bible study. Definitely gonna get some things stirred up for you tonight. Pray that again everybody has had a good week thus far and really getting to what we need to have in place here. So again, let me get some things in place and we'll be ready to rock and roll. Good evening there, Pastor April. Good evening there, Prophetess Tanisha. Good evening there, Brother Clarence and Miss Linda. Good evening there, sis. So y'all look like y'all might be chomping at the bit tonight. I'm gonna feed you. I'm gonna make sure everything's good and tight. I got a schedule I gotta follow tonight for sure. I got a Zoom meeting immediately after I get done with you tonight, so I know I gotta do right and get everything in place. so yeah. So I'm sure you saw a question tonight. Is your belief working for you or against you? Is your belief working for you or against you? During this time of Pentecost, between Passover and Pentecost, there are things that happen with us that if you're unaware of the time, it might have you shook up. It might have you to the place to where you're kind of questioning, is this even the direction of life for me? And of course, like I said, I gotta just go on and just dig right in and be for real. Gotta do it real direct tonight, since we on a kind of a time frame. But I want y'all to understand something from the point of thinking through this. Good evening there, Overseer. Let's thinking through this. I want you to realize how thoughts come at you, and that's important because those thoughts are always challenging your belief. All right. It's not, again, that it's wrong for the thoughts to come. You just got to address how you address those thoughts when they come. Because when the word's explaining to us and letting us know that we got to take captive every thought, bring it into the obedience of Christ, it's not that you're going to always know what the thoughts are that are coming at you, but you do need to know what your belief is about those thoughts that are coming at you. You do need to know what your belief is about you. All right, let me just go on and just dig right in. Let's just go on and come out. I love you. I love you all. But your belief about yourself ain't even strong enough to get you beyond some of the things that come at you. That's why you take so much time dealing with those things that come at you. See, you end up taking a whole lot of extra time dealing with stuff that comes at you because of your belief that you have about yourself. Some of y'all don't even believe in yourself. So I need for you to go on and start out tonight saying, I believe in myself. I need for you to type that in for me. Everybody that's on, I need for you to type in, I believe in myself. That is important for you to grasp. Because, watch this, if God believes in you, why don't you? So that's why you got to find out, is your belief working for you or against you? It is your belief working for you or against you? Because if your belief is working against you, you already in trouble when you got to deal with a crowd. You already in trouble with yourself. Therefore, you're not going to have the strength to even deal with the crowd. This is important. This is vital, and I'm gonna make sure I walk you through this tonight and get you to the place to where you ready to do some things with your beliefs. See, you got to ask yourself this question: does your belief have you doubting your position and abilities, or does your belief have you ready to conquer the world? When you've got a new challenge coming up, are you ready to get at it, or are you ready to retreat, sit back, and woe is me, and will somebody come and rescue me? And I need to have my pep rally in my corner. I need to have my pep talk from somebody before I'm ready to go get at it. Or as soon as it comes, are you like David and I'll just encourage myself because I got to deal with this. Whatever's coming in me, I got to deal with it. And see, it's vital because I want you to understand as we address this question: is your belief working for you or against you? As we are addressing this, this is what I got to get you to understand. See, when during this Pentecost preparation time, so in between Passover and Pentecost, which, for this year, it's been right at since about April 5th and up to next Friday, May the 26th. In between that time frame, like I've told y'all and I've taught you here at Ecclesia, the spirits of a season always come back. Always. It's just like pollen. It's going to come back. The difference is have you conditioned yourself enough to deal with those conditions that are going to come with a season? Have you conditioned yourself enough to deal with those spirits that are going to come during a season, so that, no, I ain't finna let y'all knock me out this time. I'm not fixing to let you hold me back this time. I'm not fixing to let you begin to make me think bad about myself or think low of myself. The reason that's so important and the reason this is vital is for this right here. See, Pentecost preparation is a time that it's supposed to solidify your belief. Watch this, because it isolates your individuality. Oh, come on, Lions. Come on, Lions. Come on, Lions. Pentecost preparation solidifies belief because it isolates individuality. So if you've been feeling like you've been secluded, since about April the 5th and feeling secluded now and feeling like, man, where everybody at? How come ain't nobody seeing me? How come ain't nobody paying attention to me? But what's going on? If you've been feeling that, you right where you're supposed to be. You right where you need to be. And the reason that I need you to get this is because you being able to deal with the isolation is the exact same thing that all of the people on the day of Pentecost had to deal with. The 120 in the upper room, they had to understand they was by themselves. But most of them, there wasn't anybody else that spoke their language. There wasn't anybody else that really knew their setup. So they were in isolation as individuals. Watch this. But they were all strong enough in themselves that they figured out how to get along on one accord. They figured out how to, by the time that the day of Pentecost came, a 50-day period, they were able to get on one accord so that the Spirit of God, the Spirit of the Most High God, could come and set on each and every one of them and give them good news in their language. See, you got to know how to be able to get good news in your language, even if you're in a group by yourself. Notice how I said that, in a group by yourself. You're in a group, but you're isolated. You're at the office, but ain't nobody seeing it like you see it. You're with the folks at church, but they ain't seeing what you see. They ain't hearing what you hear. They ain't feeling what you feel. You're in the family, but nobody else in the family is seeing what you're seeing. Nobody else is hearing what you're hearing. You're feeling isolated. You've been trying to have the conversation. You've been trying to get it talked out, and they just don't seem to be hearing you. But of course, ain't none of y'all dealing with none of that I just said. I'm just trying to lay this foundation before I get into the scriptures tonight, because I need for you to be able to answer the question, is your belief working for you, or is your belief working against you? Because here's something else you need to understand. See, when questionable behavior arises, belief is either going to confirm that questionable behavior or eliminate it. Your belief is either going to get on board with that, or your belief is going to say you need to get out of here with that. One of them two things happens every time. And the reason I need you to understand that is because, again, when we talk about fire, and we're going to talk about fire for a while, because what Pentecost is about is you being baptized with fire. You being baptized with the Holy Ghost and with fire. That's what, John the Baptist was laying out about the character of Jesus. John the Baptist said, yeah, I baptize you with water, but there comes one later that's going to baptize you with the Holy Ghost and with fire. So there is two levels to this thing. Y'all type that in for me. It's levels to this thing. So understanding that it's levels to this thing, you got to understand that after you've been baptized, coming later is going to be baptism of the Holy Ghost and fire. One way or the other, you eventually going to have to answer some questions to find out if your belief is working for you or against you. Because again, it's levels to this thing. And understanding that it's levels to this thing, you got to know that each time that you go to another level, you are actually building on what you just came from. It's not starting over. You're building on what you just came from, because it's levels to this thing. And once you build on what you just came from, now there's another level of belief that you're going to have to step into. This is why I got to get you to get this. Because now, watch this next point, because everything that I want you to go to, so now let's go to a scripture so that I can let the scripture talk to you. I didn't make this up. I didn't write it. I just got to point it out to you. So Titus chapter 1, verse 15 and 16. Titus chapter 1, verse 15 and 16 says this. Titus, watch this. Titus chapter 1, verse 15 and 16 says this. Titus chapter 1, verse 15 and 16 says this right here. Again, I didn't write this. I'm just reading it to you. Titus chapter 1, verse 15 and 16 says, unto the pure, all things, not some, not a few, not just those things from people that I know. Unto the pure, all things are pure. But unto them that are defiled, watch this, and unbelieving. Remember the question, is your belief working for you or against you? Unto them that are defiled and unbelieving is nothing pure. So of course y'all don't know nobody that's called. Oh, here we go. If it ain't one thing, it's another. Something always happening. I don't know how this is gonna work out. Are we gonna? Yeah, yeah. Somebody that's always looking down on stuff. Somebody, and I pray that it ain't you. I just pray that it ain't. But if it is you, I'm trying to help you tonight. I'm trying to help you understand how to get your belief to work for you instead of against you. Because watch this. Look at what else it says. It says, unto the pure, all things are pure. But unto them that are defiled and unbelieving is nothing pure, but even their mind and conscience is defiled. They profess that they know God, but in works they deny him, being abominable and disobedient, and to every good work reprobate. So in other words, you can put something good in front of this kind of person, and because of their belief, they're going to find something that ain't right with it. Again, y'all don't know nobody like that, and surely y'all ain't like that. But I just need for you to understand that if you just happen to be that way, tonight is your night. Because we're going to help you figure out how to get your belief to work for you instead of your belief working against you. Why is this so important? I am so glad you asked. Because have you ever heard anybody say something like, that's just too good to be true? Well, anybody that's making a statement like that, to them it is true. It's too good to be true in their mind and their belief. Because their belief will not see whatever they're looking at any other way. Have you ever tried to talk to somebody and no matter which way you tried to explain the angle to them, they still found out a way for it to not be beneficial for them? They found out a way for it to not be a good setup for them. They found out a way for there to be nothing beneficial out of it for them. Their belief is working against them. Their belief has already got them defeated before anything even starts. Why is this so important? Because I'm about to step into something now, here in just a moment, that I need for everybody to put your steel toes on. I need for everybody to kind of understand some things, because I'm going to deal with some passages in John 11, John chapter 11. We fixing to pick John 11 apart, and we're going to pick it apart in such a way that by the time we're done, you're going to be ready to change your level of thinking about your belief. How can I say that? Glad you asked. Because of this right here. In the book of John, we're going to start at later in the chapter and then go backwards. That's what we're going to do. We're going to start later in the chapter and then we're going to go backwards. So I want you to go to John chapter 11, verses 40 through 42. I want you to see something so that I can give you this next point, because I'm kind of just touching these points, but I'm going to have some stand out. The ones that I'm going to be covering at the end are going to stand out more than anything else that I've said up to this point, because I'm going to help you get your belief to work for you. I don't care if it's even a dead situation. Let me stay on course here. John chapter 11, verse 40 and 42 says this. John chapter 11, verse 40 and 42 says this. Again, we'll probably be in John for the rest of Bible study. John chapter 11, verse 40 and 42 says this. 40 through 42 Says this, it says, Jesus saith unto her, said I not unto thee, that if thou wouldest believe, thou shouldest see the glory of God? Then they took away the stone from the place where the dead was laid, and Jesus lifted up his eyes and said, Father, I thank thee that thou hast heard me, and I knew that thou hearest me always, but because of the people which stand by, I said it, that they, may believe that thou hast sent me. See, it's a lot of times that I know that people think that there are coincidences of how certain things that are talked about with the messages that come online and the messages that you encounter and things that happen at church and all of those things. A lot of people think that there's coincidences with that. Usually, whenever you're hearing a message and it's reaffirming something that you've already heard, what's really going on is your belief is being checked. Your belief is being checked. That's what's really happening. Do you really believe that God intervenes the way that he does in your life? Or do you just see that as a coincidence that I'm coming on talking about tonight and you've been having to question your belief about some things that have been going on in your life? Do you really believe that God's got you? Do you really believe that God's going to come through for you? Do you really believe that God's your provider? Do you really believe that God's your healer? Do you really believe that God is your restorer? Do you really believe? So that's what we've got to address, because until you are sure about what you believe, your belief is working against you. What? Until you're sure about what you really believe, your belief is working against you. How can I say that? Because of this point right here. See, it ain't that God ain't heard some of you in your prayers. It's either you don't know what he promised about what you prayed, or you don't believe what he said about what you ask. I love you. I love you. But see, that's what is happening right here in verse 40 through 42. Because, watch this, Martha is trying to make the excuse and say, it's been 4 days. He stink by now. He dead and ain't coming back. That is why the way that Jesus addresses her in verse 40 is the way that it is. Look at what he says. If I had to put it, and for those of you that might be on for the first time, I'm just 1,000% direct, and I'm going to put it in a fashion so that I think you'll understand it. If I had to put it in just the black version, if I had to put it in the hood version, what did I tell you? What did I tell you? Y'all know how the mad mamas do. Y'all mamas this on here. Y'all know how y'all go, what did I tell you? Basically, that's exactly what Jesus is doing right here in verse 40. He basically saying, what did I tell you? Said I not to thee that if thou wouldest believe, thou shouldest see the glory of God? Didn't I tell you that? Ain't that what I told you? Y'all know what I'm talking about. And you know, for the white folks that will look at this, I know y'all's mamas do it too. I know they get to that point, even after they done let you get away with some stuff more times than you should have been able to get away with it. They come through too, saying the same thing. What did I tell you? And then they ready to light it up. Ready to light that behind up. Ready to do that. This is basically exactly what Jesus is doing, because he's already told him, Lazarus He gonna live. He gonna get back up. He's not gonna stay dead. He's told them that. But he says this is directly related to your belief. See, and that's what's been going on with some of y'all's situations. The reason the situation ain't shifted yet is because of your belief. The reason the situation has not changed yet is because of your belief. The reason that the answer has not come yet is because of your belief. It's because of your belief. In a lot of cases. Now, understand where I'm at. Understand what I'm trying to show you. There's timing to things, and then there's belief in things. They go hand in hand because, watch this, some of y'all are shook up because he let you know that it was going to take some time, but you still trying to believe for it faster than what he told you. And this is what I even wanted some of y'all to get. I need y'all to type this in for me. If it grows fast, it dies fast. Ecclesia, y'all done heard that 1,000 times. But you'll probably hear it 1,000 more. If it grows fast, it dies fast. Nature has proven this. Flowers grow real fast. Trees grow really slow. Trees take a long time to die. Flowers die real fast. That's just the proof. And this is why I got to get you to understand this, because, watch this, the things that's happening that I want you to get is this right here. Oh, we finna stir it up right here. When it grows slow, hear me. When it changes slow, there's a strength, watch this, and a patience that's being established. So for some of y'all, it's more about the patience right now than it is the thing you've been waiting on. See, this is what I got to get you to get. Because this is real crucial right here, because we fixing to get into the part that I've been after. See, some of y'all are dealing with some dead situations right now. Yeah, you're dealing with some dead situations right now. Just like Lazarus was, you're dealing with some dead situations. But the question is your belief working for you or against you concerning this dead situation? Here's what I mean by this. And now is where we're about to, as the worldly statement says, this is where the rubber's about to meet the road. Because I need for you to understand some things. So now let's look at John chapter 11, since we're already here. Let's look at verses 20 through 39, because there's something I need you to see that happens right before he says, didn't I tell you? Because this is vital. Verses, watch this, 20 through 39 says this. It says, then Martha, as soon as she heard that Jesus was coming, went and met him, but Mary sat still in the house. Then said Martha unto Jesus, Lord, if thou hadst been here, my brother had not died. Watch this. But I know that even now, whatsoever thou wilt ask of God, God will give it to thee. So see right here, she's trying to lean on Jesus's belief. And yes, he is going to activate it. Yes, he is going to be the one to get the thing started for the dead thing that you've been dealing with. Some of y'all been dealing with dead hope. Some of y'all been dealing with dead hope. Some of y'all have been dealing with dead love. Some of y'all have been dealing with dead belief. You just done gave up. You don't even have a belief. You don't have a hope. You don't have a love for it. You had some things that you used to be absolutely outstanding in, and you ready to throw in the towel on them right now. You ready to give it up. Some of you have had a direction in life. God spoke that direction to you, but it's been taking too long. So now your hope is dead. Now you ready to, Lord, you done took too long. Some of you have been in between this Passover and Pentecost time, and the way that things have looked have caused you to begin to give up your belief on what God told you. I don't know who exactly I'm dealing with right now, but I just need you to hear me on out as I show you the rest of these verses, because I need you to see this. Then said Martha to Jesus, Lord, if thou hadst been here, my brother had not died, but I know that even now, whatsoever thou wilt ask of God, God will give it thee. Jesus saith unto her, thy brother shall rise again. See, this is why down in verse 40 and 42, this is why he's saying this. He's like, okay, you're saying that you believe that whatever I ask God, he gives it to me. I told you he's going to rise again, but you ain't in agreement with what I said. This is what I need you to get. Watch this right here, verse 24. Martha said unto him, I know that he shall rise again, watch this, in the resurrection. She didn't think that it could happen right then. And that's what's messing with some of y'all right now. You don't think that because of the conditions that have now shown themselves, you don't believe that it can happen for you right now. You don't believe that God can turn your situation around tomorrow. You don't have that level of belief. That's why you can't have it. See, you choosing to believe that the conditions control your outcome instead of God and what he said, now your belief is working against you. Watch this. Because it goes on and then says this. Verse 25, Jesus said unto her, I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. And whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. Believest thou this? So now he asks a question. Do you believe what I just said? To those of you watching tonight, do you believe what God has written in his word? Do you even know what he said in his word about what you are trying to believe for? Are you even aware of what he's promised concerning what you pray? This is why this is so important. He goes on and says, she saith unto him, Yea, Lord, I believe that thou art the Christ, the Son of God, which should come into the world. And when she had so said, watch this, she went her way and called Mary, her sister, secretly. Watch this. Saying, the master is come, and he calleth for thee. Now see, really what just went on is Martha basically done said, he just whooped me, now I'm sending you out there to get whooped too. So watch what happens. As soon as she heard that, she arose quickly and came unto him. Now Jesus was not yet come into the town, but was in that place where Martha met him. The Jews then which were with her in the house and comforted her, when they saw Mary, watch this, that she rose up hastily and went out, followed her, saying, she goeth unto the grave to weep there. Woo! My. I ain't going to deal with that right now, but I need for you to see something else here. Because again, I just got to stay on track. But this right here is what I need you to see. Verse 32 says, then when Mary was come where Jesus was and saw him, she fell down at his feet, saying unto him, Lord, if thou hadst been here, my brother had not died. Remember, some of y'all dealing with some dead situations right now. They look dead to you. But the resurrection wants to raise them up. And your belief is what's going to make the difference as to whether or not they get raised up. Here's what I want to show you. Because watch this. It says, when Jesus therefore saw her weeping, and the Jews also weeping, which came with her, he groaned in the spirit and was troubled, and said, all right, where have you laid him? They said unto him, Lord, come and see. Jesus wept. And he's like, Father, they just don't believe what you've said. They just don't believe what you've given as your word for us to go by in this moment. That's what the weeping was about. Watch this. Then said the Jews, behold, how he loved him. It's made the master and the Savior cry. No, he's not crying about him dying. He's crying about y'all's belief being dead. He's crying about your belief being dead. Because see, he's already told us stuff like, where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there shall I be in the midst. But I just need for y'all to gather in my name. Y'all won't even gather in my name. Y'all gathering over the consequences. You're gathering over what's already dead. You're gathering over the fact that it ain't moved and it ain't moving. That's what you're gathering for. Gather for me and watch whatever is not moving, watch it rise. Because if I be lifted up, I'll draw all men unto me. But watch where I'm going. Because it goes on and says, and some of them said, could not this man, which opened the eyes of the blind, have caused that even this man should not have died? See, again, you don't like how your circumstances look right now. You don't like how the situation looks right now. And because it looks like it looks, your belief has said that there's no coming back from this. Your belief has said there's no restoration that can come out of this one. There's no life left in this situation right here. Now, he didn't call it dead. You called it dead. If he called it dead and you agreed with him, that's one thing. But this right here, he said, he gonna rise again. They're still not believing what he said. This is why this is so important, and this is what I want you to see. Verse 38 and 39. Jesus, therefore, again groaning in himself, cometh to the grave. It was a cave, and a stone lay on it. Jesus said, take away the stone. Martha, the sister of him that was dead, saith unto him, Lord, by this time he stinketh, for he hath been dead 4 days. This is what I need you to get. And this right here is vital. Because what I need for you to get out of all of that I just read is you got to take the lid off of your belief before it can work for you. Some of y'all still got God closed in as to how he can bring life back to your situation. And since you still got that stone, that lid on how he can do it, that's what's keeping him from doing it. See, you think the money can only come from you working overtime. I'm finna meddle right here. I got the metal right here. I got a little time. You got to take the lid off of that belief. Y'all type that in for me. Take the lid off. Take the stone away, because, see, some of y'all have limited God on how he can provide for you. You have channeled him down to only having one place and one way that he can fix your situation. Oh, I love you. I love you. But you're going to have to take the lid off. You are going to have to take the lid off of your belief so that you can get the fullness of what God desires for you to have. You got to take the lid off. Because if you don't take the lid off, God's hands are tied. Because without faith, it is impossible to please him. You got to take the lid off. You can't. You think the only way they gonna understand you is if you yell at them. Take the lid off. Give them a soft answer. Give them exactly what God said instead of what you feel. When you will take the lid off of your belief, it's at that point you give God the freedom to work the work of his kingdom. Because the work of his kingdom is not bound by the conditions of your circumstance. The work of the kingdom is not bound by the conditions of your circumstance. I need for you to hear me, and I need for you to hear me clearly tonight. Your belief has been working against you because you have had a lid on it. You've let a stone stay over the opening of where God wanted to turn it around. You still got your heart in stone about that relationship with the family. That's why it can't turn around. Take the lid off of that. Take the lid off of that and let him deal with them. Let him deal with, watch this, let him deal with the cave. 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 I don't know who I'm talking to right there. Let him deal with the cave. It's some dead stuff in that opening. You took the lid off. You done got rid of the hard heart. You took the stone away. You done got rid of that. But you got to give him liberty to work in the cave. Woo! 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 This is why I need for you to understand that. It was by design that it needed to happen in the cave. The dead thing needed to be in that dark place that ain't nobody else in right now. All right. Lord, I hear you. I hear you. Some of you had some dark and grim situations happen in your life. And you feel like you died there. You feel like right there in that cave is where all of your destiny still lies. You feel like that everything that was back in that abyss is the reason why you can't move forward right now. But that ain't the reason. The reason is you've limited God on how he can bring back to life what he ain't through with. Oh. Woo. You've limited God on how he can bring back to life what you won't let him deal with. See, because the last point that I need to show you tonight is what I believe is going to help change your belief. This is what I believe, that this last point that we're about to get to. So now we're going to look at verses 1 through 16 in John 11, and then I'm going to skip down to verse 44 because I need for you to see all of that together in that way. And you're like, I know you're probably wondering, why did he go backwards? Why did he go that way? I don't really know. I'm just following instructions. I just know that this last point is probably going to be the one that's going to break you free from everything that's hindered you in your belief. Because, watch this. This is what I want you to get. Let's look at verses 1 through 16 so you can see it. It says, now a certain man was sick, named Lazarus of Bethany, the town of Mary and her sister Martha. It was that Mary which anointed the Lord with ointment and wiped his feet with her hair, whose brother Lazarus was sick. Now, why in the world would it point that out? Let's see. Therefore his sisters sent unto him, saying, Lord, behold, he whom thou lovest is sick. When Jesus heard that, he said, this sickness is not unto death, but for the glory of God, that the Son of God might be glorified thereby. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. My sister and colleague just preached a word on this past weekend that I was able to listen in on. And one of the things she said is understanding how to share God's glory. Here is an absolute example of that being shared. Jesus is showing the example of how when there's certain situations that God allows to happen, there's a glory that he wants you to learn about, to share in, so that the fullness of your belief will come forth, just like Lazarus did. Watch this. Watch this. Because it goes on and it says, now Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. Again, why does it tell us that? Keep watching. When he had heard, therefore, that he was sick, he abode 2 days still in the same place where he was. Time out. Wait a minute. You said you loved them. You saying you loved all 3 of them. So the sisters tell you he's sick, and you don't hurry up and run down to St. Thomas to see him. You don't hurry up and run down to Stonecrest to see him. You don't run down to Centennial and Nashville to see him. Wait a minute. Hold on. I thought you loved him, and I thought you loved them. But didn't even make a rush of it. I need for y'all to type something in, and I'm going to try to hold my peace when I tell you to say it, but don't rush the glory. Don't rush the glory. See, that's what's been going on with some of you. You've been trying to rush the glory. And he's saying, I'm trying to get you to understand the promise first. I'm trying to get you to understand what I want to do for you first. And you trying to rush the glory. Don't rush the glory. See, because watch this. It goes on and he says, when he had heard therefore that he was sick, he abode 2 days still in the same place where he was. He did not move. He hears it, and then he says, this sickness ain't to death. And then he freezes, he chills, he don't move for 2 days. For 2 days. Whew. My gosh. Watch this. Oh, I feel an anointing coming so deep right now. Watch this. This is what I need you to get. It goes on. It says, then after that, after the 2 days, he saith to his disciples, let us go into Judea again. His disciples say unto him, Master, the Jews of late sought to stone thee, and goest thou thither again? So in other words, the people at that place where Lazarus is, where they just came from, are still ready to stone you. They still ready to take you out. See, and that's what's going on with some of y'all. That's why you think it's dead, because they still got a heart to take you out. Even though you ain't got no stone over your heart no more, you know that they still got some hate towards you. You know that they still got some animosity towards you. You know that they still are undercover hating on you. And he's saying, I got some glory there that I want to share with you. I got some glory there that I want to share with you. Watch this. Goes on. And he says this. This right here is the key. It says, Jesus answered, are there not 12 hours in the day? If any man walk in the day, he stumbleth not, because he seeth the light of this world. But if a man walk in the night, he stumbleth, because there is no light in him. These things said he, and after that he saith unto them, our friend Lazarus sleepeth, but I go that I may awake him out of sleep. Wait a minute, time out. Last report said he was just sick. Now you saying he's asleep. Now do y'all understand why we had to go backwards? Because we're dealing with your belief. This right here is the key. He goes on and says, then said his disciples, Lord, if he sleep, he shall do well. Howbeit Jesus spake of his death, but they thought that he had spoken of taking of rest in sleep. Then said Jesus unto them plainly, Lazarus is dead. And I am glad for your sakes that I was not there, to the intent, that you may believe. Is your belief working for you or against you? He's trying to set them up so that their belief is going to work for them from this time forward. Why? Because look at what else he says. To the intent that you may believe, nevertheless, let us go unto him. Then said Thomas, which is called Didymus, unto his fellow disciples, let us go that we may, die with him. So they're thinking, Lazarus is already dead. Master is going back there to where they want to stone him. So everybody finna die. Let's go on and go with him. Because they think that's the moment. That ain't the moment. He's about to show them something about the moment, and that's why we want to skip down to verse 44, so that I can give you this last point and tighten this thing up. So now let's skip down to verse 44, because he says this. So verse 43 is when he says, Lazarus come forth. Verse 44. And he that was dead came forth, bound hand and foot with grave clothes. And his face was bound about with a napkin. Jesus saith unto them, loose him and let him go. Which leads me to my last point that I want to get to tonight. And if you ain't heard a thing I've said up to this point, make sure you grasp this right here. God's got something for you to do in dead situations. God's got something for you to do in dead situations. See, it's two separate things that he had other people do when he came to this scene. The first thing he told them to do was roll a stone away. So one group of people, and I don't know if it's the same people or not, the scriptures don't clarify. It just says he said unto them, move the stone away. So one group rolled the stone away. Then Jesus prays, calls on God, makes everything known, says, Lazarus, come forth. And then after Lazarus comes forth, what it says, he comes forth, bound hand and foot with grave clothes. Face was bound about with a napkin. Jesus saith unto them, loose him and let him go. In those dead situations to where things ain't been moving, there's either some hardness of heart that he needs you to get rid of, or there's some principles of mind that he needs you to loose and let go. Either move the stone or take off the grave clothes. Because what just got brought back to life needs some new movement. What just got brought back to life needs some clarity, some freedom, some removal off of the face, some removal of the grave clothes. All of those need to be taken out of the way so that what used to lay in the cave can now come back to the fullness of life. Boy, woo, I wish that I could stay a little longer right now, but God saw fit that I just needed to let it end right there. God's got something for you to do in that dead situation. Either take away the stone over the heart or remove the grave clothes. This is what I need for you to understand about removing them grave clothes. The grave clothes are wrapped from here down. And in order for there to be freedom, sometimes that needs to happen so that you can raise your hands in praise, bend your knees in worship. So I just need you to understand that in this moment, there's some different actions that he's asking for you to do. They ain't big. They ain't monumental, but they are restricting. Remove the restrictions and watch the dead come back to life. Father in heaven, seal this in everybody that's going to see this. Everybody that's already on here, if they've got a dead situation that they're dealing with, show them what to do in the dead situation. Show them that they need to remove the stone over their heart, or show them how to remove the restrictions that's keeping the dead from being free to move and come back to fullness of life. I call it done in earth as you have planned in heaven for the fullness of this moment, so your glory can shine through in everybody's situation so that their belief will now work for them instead of continuing to work against them. Saturday morning, exclusive Ecclesia, 10:30 here on Facebook. Round about 10, get you some worship music from 10 to 10:30. And if I get the list, which I believe I probably will, then I will send the list out just like I did last week. However God wants to do this time that he is doing things, we taking the grave clothes off. We letting him bring back to life whatever he wants to bring back to life, how he wants to bring it back to life. Exclusive Ecclesia, round about 10:30ish, we will be back on to give a part 2 about the fire. So I love you guys. Y'all have a blessed rest of the evening. Peace.